Hi, June. So nice to see you and to get to have your time to interview and to share some ideas about being 50 plus. And we met each other in a group in online if the United States. We had like a coaching group together, and we still are meeting, three of us. Berlin, you're from Berlin, I'm from Amsterdam, and Jeanette is from Australia, Sydney. And that's really great. And we decided to do some interviews because we have all our own lives and experiences and sharing ideas and motivate 50 plus women to create a life that they really want. Mm-hmm. So I'll introduce you a little bit, who you are, and then I'll ask you some questions. Sure. So June is a staff care coach and mentor, supporting expats and family members on the move. Enthusiastic Ikikai practitioner, promoting the authentic Japanese way of cultivating small joys that make life worth living. June is Japanese from England. She is a widow, cancer survivor, and a single mom, and lives with her daughter in Berlin, Germany. So we asked each other what's really important for you, turning 50 and older, and you said clarity. So what does clarity mean to you?
Yeah, thank you very much. So for me, I think it's important to set the context before I answer that question about clarity. As you mentioned in the introduction, I'm a widow and a cancer survivor. So back in 2017, I need to set the context where I was working in a very highly stressful country, work environment in the Middle East for my job. I was actually there alone with my daughter. My husband was working in another country in the region, and we were only able to see each other once every 3 to 4 weeks. And my daughter was only 7 at the time. So that was a very stressful situation, and the kind of lifestyle we were having. And it all started with stress accumulating and me experiencing burnout. So I completely burnt out from my job. And then within a year, I left my job and decided then to pack up and join my husband. And then within a few months, we tragically lost my husband in an accident. And within then half a year, I was then diagnosed with early breast cancer. So this actually puts kind of it triggers and sets the context of what brought this question about clarity. So you can imagine since then I've been doing quite a lot of work and quite a lot of questions about what now, what next, and trying to first of all make sense of everything and to kind of stop everything that's been happening, because I've been kind of in a work mode for nearly my whole life, over 25 years. So suddenly that was put on hold. My lifestyle had to change. I had health issues. I needed treatment. So we left and also came then to Germany, where we've been based since 2019 in Berlin, alone with my daughter, who is now 12. And so it's been a very long personal journey of self-reflecting, of trying to reinvent myself in terms of having a more balanced life-work balance, in terms of avoiding a stressful life. Although I've been now cancer-free for 3 years, so health has become a priority of choice of the kind of work to do, and also being more physically available for my daughter in a place where she can feel also more safe and psychologically more stable. So you can just imagine my life was turned upside down, and I needed really that time first to heal, obviously, physically, emotionally, But also the work really started of going through that spiritual journey of getting in contact with myself, with my inner voice, and just trying to really figure out and press, I like to call it like press the reset button to reboot and to completely rethink what to do next. So for me, it's the clarity is really that journey, that process of self-reflection, and asking a lot of questions to help me make the right decisions that is good for me and for my daughter, obviously.
Yeah, well, there's so much you're sharing, and it's really huge what you have gone through, a lot. So I feel with you. And what a question that comes up is, what has helped you to gain more clarity in so much mess and challenges and big issues in your life, and then also raising a child, not to forget, like your own emotions. And then, so what helped you to gain more clarity?
I think what I've experienced is being able to just really take a big pause and to step out of I call it the hamster wheel or the wagon wheel, the kind of pilot mode lifestyle that we're into, and just really step out and really be super patient and just taking time to really understand where I am. And for me, I felt that I needed to kind of go through a personal inventory. So it was a process of unpacking all the things and stuff that was in my life backpack, and just putting everything out on the table and just taking a distance and reviewing and look at all the things I've done, and really deciding then, okay, which ones can I put away? Which ones am I done with? Which ones maybe I can put aside? And just go through that process and look at what's left on the table and try to understand why is that still on the table, and try to make a sense and meaning of that. And through that, make these decisions of what's important for me. And it was very clear was my health and family, and raising my child. And so creating a lifestyle around then became the journey of then reinventing myself personally and professionally.
Well, and did you ask for help around in this process, or you did it by yourself, alone, or?
Well, obviously the first year, my priority was my health. So with the cancer, I had to go through multiple surgeries and treatments. So my life was put on hold for a good nearly a year and a half and 2 years, just to get my physical strength back. So everything else was then put on hold. So through that process, it was the medical team, the oncologists, and the psychologists. But as I've already mentioned, there's still the grief of the loss of my husband and my daughter's father as well. So we were surrounded by a lot of support by families who are grieving, children who are grieving, and luckily in Berlin there's a very good support network here and available for both adults, family, and children. Luckily we used to live here, so I had my personal friends and parents from the school where my daughter was going, so that really helped. And obviously family members who are a bit far away, but at least knowing that they were always there that I could reach out to, and that's been really important. But in terms of after that phase, then going through the decision of then my professional career and my choices, I actually then got in contact with a coach, and that experience really helped me kind of unpack some things from the past, some things about my own identity. As you mentioned, I'm Japanese, but I was born and raised in England, so there was something about my let's say origins, my roots to Japan that emerged. So there's been some work on that I've been working on. So coaching helped me, and through the coaching experience, got me interested to become a coach myself, and that's where it kind of started to where I started to sign up for a certification course, and now I'm working as a certified coach and mentor.
Yeah, I think you can help a lot of people who are going through challenges themselves. You can help them from your own experience and as a professional, both. Yeah. And we are, like, our topic is around getting older, aging, like 50 plus. Do you see any difference around being in your 50s, around clarity, and before? Yeah, can you answer that question a little bit? What comes?
Well, of course, before the tragic events that happened, I was pretty much just living my life with my professional career at the forefront, and then, you know, having my family around. So that obviously then changed. Then turning 50, 51 now, so I turned 50 last year. I think what I've noticed is really the body changes, obviously. As women, we go through perimenopause and menopause phases. There's also, you know, physical sort of symptoms that have become more visible and obvious. There are obviously body joints, the back and the hip that's slowly wearing out. So for me, it's been a time to put my attention more to listening to the body and reminding myself that I'm not getting younger by the day, but actually I am getting older by the day, and it's slowly joining kind of the aging, let's say, group from now on, and having to be very aware of that in the choices that I make when I decide to do physical activities. Yeah, so there is a bit of there was a bit of a psychological shock when I turned 50. My daughter said to me, "Congratulations, you're officially half century old," and that really made me go really old. Although deep down I feel I am 51, but to be honest, I feel still in my mid-30s. But there is a moment where I feel that I do need to pay attention more to my body, listen to my body, learn to slow down, because I'm used to very much fast-paced lifestyle. So this has been a practice, let's say, a change that I'm trying to incorporate.
And when you talk about clarity, how do you know when you've reached clarity?
I think when things are not clear, we can somehow feel it, that something is not right. There is this gut feeling where we always are asking the same questions in our head. I think a lot of people are going through that. I'm not the only one, and I believe that's a sign, that's a signal that there is something not quite right. And I think when we are able then to face those questions and make changes and try different things, and then to kind of check in and to see if we are still asking the same questions. And when those same questions are becoming less and less, or less clouded, I think that will be the moment where we are reaching our clarity. I believe we will never reach 100% clarity. I think it's always good that we have clouded thoughts, because otherwise we get too comfortable. And I think it's healthy that we should always ask ourselves these questions. For the best of our well-being,
personal growth, right? Yeah. And you are also enthusiastic Ikikai practitioner, and I know there's a lot around in social media and courses and trainings and whatever, and that's really a Western approach, I assume. Can you explain a little bit more about what Ikikai is and what it means for you?
Okay, so in Japanese, Ikigai is made up of two words, actually, two Chinese characters. Iki actually has different meanings, which incorporate the meaning of life, living, breathing, And Gai actually means worth, value. So if you put those two together, it's that kind of sense of feeling the things that make you feel alive, that is worth living. And this is a word that we don't really pay so much attention to in Japan. It's something that we use on a very mundane daily basis, and unfortunately this word has been used towards a greater ambition or to greater goals in the Western concept. And while there is a lot of truth to that, in the Japanese context, it's much more smaller, and it's more integrated into the daily living, and it's more about savoring, enjoying the small joys in our daily life that actually contributes to something bigger later on. So the key is really to focus on the small things, the small joys that we enjoy and savor every day. And that's kind of the Ikigai sort of spirit or philosophy behind living.
Yeah, beautiful. And can you give us some examples? What can be Ikigai for you?
Yeah, so for me, it's about really looking into without any effort, just looking at the things that I enjoy. And there's 3 things that I practice. I call it the 3 M's. Mm-hmm. So M's stands for music, movement, and mindfulness. And so music is something that I really enjoy. I mean, I'm not a trained musician or so, but I naturally just love singing in the shower, for example. I constantly, I notice I'm always humming or singing in the background. And coming from Japan, karaoke is kind of in my blood. So I love singing. And also playing the guitar. So I used to play the guitar when I was a student at university. So that's something that I decided to pick up again, actually during my cancer treatment as part of my healing process. And then through that, I got in touch with a music therapist and started to invest time and even money on getting a vocal coach and taking singing and music, guitar lessons. And this is something I always naturally did every day, but I didn't realize that it actually led into something bigger. And so I turned those 2 small things into a bucket list challenge, where I challenged myself to actually sing and play on the street before I turned 50. So that's something that I did last year. And these small kind of playful joys actually led into a challenge, and I also experienced when you go through a challenge, there were also different skills that you learn. And one of the things was being vulnerable, of course. You know, you're singing in public and you might feel a bit shamed, there's a lot of fear. So I had to kind of learn to practice to be vulnerable and to overcome that. And through that practice, then I realized that I was practicing the skill of courage. And I think that's like the biggest really skill, or the thing that I have really got me through all the different challenges until now. And that's something that I use a lot also in my coaching practice. And the second one is movement. So obviously physical movement is very important. So I've moved to an environment out of the city, from urban into a suburban area. So I'm close now to the nature, close to the water, and make time to go out and exercise. And the third M is mindfulness. And mindfulness for me is not necessarily sitting down and meditating, but it's just really practicing to take time for myself to be self-aware and to reflect. So these are all the small things that I'm trying to do every day. It's part of my Ikikai practice.
Well, and it sounds like so much wisdom, and so about getting older, and we all go through difficult times and on certain ages, and for you it was like really all together. And now what I hear as you saying courage, I think that's also getting you closer to clarity, right? Because courage, you go through the fear. And if you don't have clarity, that's my idea, that's because there's a lot of fear coming up. You want something else, or something else, or you're not sure. So that makes you really in doubt. And then if you have the courage to do the things you really want to do, that opens up a lot of space and clarity. Is that resonating, what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. So I think you've nailed it. So the big word is fear. I think a lot of us do have fears, and sometimes we are not able to name it, or maybe to face it, because it's just been, hidden for so long under the carpet. So when I coach my clients who have difficulty with clarity, and I think especially the 50+ group is quite common, because there is sort of a phase in our lives when our kids are getting older, they leave the nest, and then while we've been focusing so much on bringing up our children, schooling them, there's a moment when we are then faced with, oh, well, what next? And of course, as I mentioned about our health, our body changes, and also, as you mentioned, as we get older, we become wiser. And so we start to also question about different aspects of our life, including relationships as well. So I think through that questioning and process, a lot of the real kind of stuff will emerge, and a lot of the times the fears are kind of hidden in that. And and I think once we're able to take time, it does take time, it's a long process, and be able to work through those fears, then slowly we're able then to clear a little bit the clouded thoughts that we have and bring us closer to clarity. And I definitely see that there is a tendency for this work to be done for the 50+ group.
Yeah. And also what comes up is acceptance, like this is what it is, right? It's also, I think that's my experience getting older. It's, less stress about things you can't change. It's more like, acceptance, this is what it is, and how can I make the best out of it? And then Ikikai comes up, maybe, like really paying attention to the small things you're having. Thankfulness I think is also a way of acceptance and feeling more happy. Is that also part of Ikikai? Being thankful and what you have, is that, or is it not really?
Yeah, well, what's coming up for me is it's really again, it's all about practice and a skill, and for me the biggest thing is learning to be in the present. And although that's very easy to say, in reality, I think we all know it's so difficult. We are so used to holding on to things we know, so we tend to either jump from the past, the experience of the past, and then where we are not in the past, we tend to jump directly into the future. And the future brings often these feelings of fears, because we don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of what if this happens and what if that happens, and that obviously then becomes it influences then our decisions today. So I think it's having that. When you talk about acceptance, it also requires us to think differently and go through a shift in the mindset in our thinking. And I think practicing to be more in the present allows us, as you say, to be thankful, to be grateful for the things that we have, to the people that are in our lives, and to spend these reflective moments with ourselves. And hopefully with that we can make then the right decisions that opens the path for the future.
Nice. Is there anything more you want to share? What comes up? What's important for you at your age, or around clarity, or around Ikigai? Is there something I haven't asked? Or
Yeah. No, I think I think I've said it all. No, not really. I think I've said it all. But I mean, just to sum it up, really, I think yeah, I think life is a process, and moving from focusing on more results oriented lifestyle to actually yeah, putting more focus on the process and what happens, even if we don't reach that result or the end goal, has been a big change for me, I think, compared to when I was in my 20s or 30s, 40s, and definitely 50s, has brought me to a place where I can feel more comfortable with myself, think less and less about what people think about me. Again, there's still obviously that fear of judgment, but I feel it's become less and less than before, and that obviously does take work. And for me, it's the path of Ikigai that's really helped me through being in the present, allow myself to be vulnerable, accept, as you say, life, what life brings to me as it is, and to yeah, through that practice, courage, and courage for me is really the biggest word. And to be playful, of course, to be playful,
yeah.
and experiment, because
And
it's amazing how things can come up just being creative and playful.
yeah,
So,
and your daughter helps you with that part as well, I think. Being playful, yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Mirror children who, yeah. Is there any book, podcast, or something you want to share? What can help women around our age to get more clarity, to get inspired by Ikigai? Maybe, are there any things?
I mean, I organize a group program on Ikigai. So the focus is actually having an experiential sort of journey together in very small groups. And we actually do tackle sort of the fears that we have, and to practice facing those fears, practice being vulnerable, and practice being creative and playful, and then also practice acts of courage. And so we do this as a group, and we support each other in a very supporting and warm environment. So these are small, let's say, Ikigai group programs that I'm running a few times a year. Otherwise, people can reach me through LinkedIn.
Okay, and can you share your email address where they can send an email if they're interested in your program?
Yeah, so I don't have a website as yet, but people can reach me on hello@junekashio.com.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's that's the email they can reach me, or they can send me a message on LinkedIn, which is my name, June Kashio.
And it's also nice. I was in your group last year. I was joining the group. They are also sharing their experiences. It's really, deep work, and also a lot of wisdom what comes up, and you are sharing all your experiences, and also your how you got clarity, and your courage will inspire a lot of people for sure.
No, absolutely. I believe in the power of group work, because I think there's so much learning from each other, and also to realize that we are not alone in the journey. And so that support is extremely powerful, that we can hold each other when times are difficult. So yeah, that's
nice. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure. And thanks for sharing all your life stories. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.